All right, and what I want to show you, let me move this out of the way. Several things. First of all, I'm going to start from an instructor side, so a teacher side of building a course, getting it ready. And then I also want to show you some things from a student side as well. But we'll do all the instructor stuff first. I have two computers here, one logged in as a teacher, one logged in as a student. So I'll jump back and forth from those two views so you can see both. First thing I want to show you is authorizing your Google Drive account. So this is one of the first things you need to do, and it's one of the first things your students are going to need to do as well. Let me pull up Canvas. So here's a Canvas course. One of the first things we'll tell your students to do when they log in is navigate over here on the navigation bar on the far left-hand side of the screen down to Google Drive. And it may take just a second. Notice mine pulled up all my files. The first time you do that, it's not going to pull up anything. It's essentially going to say your Google Drive has not been authorized. And there's a button that says authorize. When you click that button, it's going to ask you what Google account you want to use. So you'll tell it your Google email address essentially and click authorize. And essentially all that's going to do is tie your Google account to your Canvas account. And it's going to let you access all your Google files from Canvas. You'll need to do that. Your participants will need to do that. And all of that will be part of the Module 0 stuff that we have them do before we get started. So that's something that most of you won't have to deal with. Hopefully it should already be done before the course actually starts. But if somebody happens to slip through and they're having a hard time getting to their Google Drive, all they have to do is go to Google Drive, click authorize, and that'll take care of that. All right, next thing on my list is a problem that a lot of people run into. I'm going to go back to the home screen. Sometimes you'll think you've got your course ready to go. Your students have all been added to it, and your course doesn't appear to your students. They can't find your course. They log into Canvas. Your course is nowhere to be found. Typically, the only problem there is that over here on the right side of the screen, your course is unpublished. For your students to be able to see anything, you have to hit publish. And that just makes it visible to them so they can see it. And it's just one click. So make sure that if you want people to see things, make sure you hit publish. They will not be able to access anything until you hit that button. That's crucial. All right, next thing on my list is just dressing things up a little bit, setting up a home page. It's not as intuitive as you might think. You would think it would be as simple as over here on the right side of the screen going to choose home page. It's a little more complicated than that. The first thing you want to do if you want to build an introductory homepage is to go over to pages in the left-hand side navigation. And by the way, I'm recording this webinar today, and I will break it up into little snippets. So for each topic, there'll be a little video you can access if you need to. But we're going to go over to pages. Just click on that pages link. And notice up here in the top of my screen, there's a plus pages. I want to click on that.
No.
So we're gonna build our home page from here. So I'm just going to call this my landing page. And this box that I'm in now, you can see my cursor blinking, works pretty much like Word. So I could go in and center, I could put in some text, change the text color, all that typical stuff. I can change the size, so I'm going to make my text be pretty large here. You also can go in and put in an image if you want to, a picture. I'm going to do that, so I'm going to click on this image button, embed image. And I want to go here to Canvas. And I already have an image in my Canvas files called Word Map, and I'll show you how to do this in a minute. If you don't, you can click on Upload Image, and you can upload an image from your computer. But I'm going to pick this image that I already had in Canvas. Just click Update. Just like in Word, you can click on the image and you can grab up in the corner and you can resize. So that's very easy to do. And then I always like to link certain common documents or documents that people are going to need on this homepage. So if you want to put in some kind of link, see if I can move this bar out of my way here. The easiest way to put in a link is type in the text that you want to appear first. Like so. Highlight that text once you get it put in. And there's two things you can do. If you want it to link to a website, you just click on this link to URL button. What do we want to link to? We'll just link to more than likely, though, most of your links are going to be to documents. I just deleted it. So let's try that again. So let's go link to a common document. And one thing I'll tell you about linking to documents, if it's a document that you're going to have housed on Canvas, you want to have uploaded it before you do this. You could go in, highlight, go over to Files on the right-hand side of the screen, and you can tell it you want to upload a new file. And that will work beautifully. But what will happen if you do that, when you upload that new file, it's going to upload it into your main course directory. So that main course directory is going to be all chaotic. It's going to have files everywhere if you do this. So what I would recommend first is any documents you want to link to, put them in your files in a folder, and we'll talk about how to deal with files in a minute, and then go in and link to that document. So notice over here under Files, I'll just go to College Board Documents, and I can pick one of these things I want to link to. Here's like an AP course and exam description. And that's all I need to do to link to it is simply click on that file. So now I'll link to something else. This time I'll link to a sample syllabus. And again, that document's already uploaded in Canvas. So I highlight my text, pick the file, and now it's hyperlinked. Once I get that done, I want to hit Save and Publish. Don't just hit Save, Save and Publish. All right, now I'm going to go back to the Pages menu. That's where I'm at right now. And I'm going to hit View All Pages. And notice that the page I just created was landing page 2. I'm going to go over to these 3 little dots over on the right. And this is where you get options for things you can do with a page or a document. And notice that one of my options is use as front page. Use as front page. I need to set that. And as soon as I do, it's going to note that it's front page. Well, you would think that would have taken care of setting your home page, but there's one more step. So you've got to create the page. You've got to set it as the front page. And then finally, you got to go back to home and choose home page. Over here on the right, choose home page. And you're just going to tell it you want to use pages, the front page. And notice that there's the page I just created, landing page 2. It's the one I set as the front page. Now if I hit save, there's my landing page. So anyone that comes to this course, that's what they're going to see first. So that part's a little tricky. 3 steps. Create the page, set it as the front page, and then choose it as the home page. Most things in Canvas are not that tricky. Most are really intuitive. That one is not. Any questions on that one? All right, this next thing is something that your content director is probably going to do for you, but navigation bar setup. So all these are blue hyperlinks on the left. This is your navigation bar. And notice there's lots of options. You can see all the options on my screen right now. Lots of times there's too many options there, and if you keep too many options up there, it's going to become confusing for the participants. So we're going to hide some of those options. To do that, you go to Settings. And once you get into Settings, there's a Navigation tab in Settings. You can see that there. And all I need to do to deal with the settings, see if I can get this bar out of my way. Anything that I want to disable for students so that they can't see, I just need to grab it, just click on it, grab it, and drag it. Drag it down here to the bottom. So let's see if there's anything I don't want them to see up here at the top. I think I actually want to keep all the things that are up there. So let's say there's something disabled that I want them to be able to see. For example, syllabus is an option I have. I can grab that and I can drag it up to the top. Same with Zoom. Grab that, drag it up to the top. So now I should have all those options. Make sure that after you drag them up, you hit save. I'm going to go ahead and move syllabus back out of the way because I don't really want that to be an option. So I just drag it down here to the bottom, click save. And that's all there is to changing your navigation bar. Now, something you will see, and we might see this in a minute in a student view, notice that some of these navigation tools over here have this little eye with the cross through it. These are mostly supposed to be available to students, but right now they're not going to be able to see anything. And that's because I haven't done anything in these menus. I haven't built any modules yet. I haven't built any quizzes yet. As soon as I do, these little eyes will go away. And you'll see that here in just a minute when we start building modules. Same for a syllabus. I haven't put a syllabus in the document. All right, any questions there? Again, I think those decisions about the navigation bar will probably be made by the content directors, and they'll probably be pretty standard amongst all the courses. But if you ever need to change it, just go to Settings and Navigation. Really easy to do. All right, this next part is probably one of the most important things that you're going to do, and that's building modules. That's what a lot of you are probably already starting to do now. So let's get back in Canvas and let's go to modules. All right, so once you're in modules, let's get ready to build our first module. I'm going to click on plus module up at the top. Give it a name. I'm just going to call it module 1. Click add module. So then we get in this new view. I'm going to go ahead and add another module as well while I'm here. So plus module, module 2. Now, while I'm working on this, this is something I think they're going to want you to do as well. Notice you can lock until, and that's going to give you a date where your participants can't see something, or you can set a prerequisite. And this is probably what you're going to want to do in most cases. Essentially, you're probably going to want them to create module 1 before they can progress to module 2. So that's a prerequisite. So if I click there, essentially I just say, hey, they got to finish module 1 before they do module 2. And notice we can see it's set as a prerequisite right there. Also notice these little circles with the slash through them. That's the publish or unpublish option. Right now, neither one of these modules is published. To publish, all you do is just click on that little circle and you get a check mark. Click on that circle, get a check mark. This is reminding me that I've got it locked. So we'll go from there. So now I want to start building some things in our modules. And there's several things you might want to put in your module. I got a list here of things that we might want to put in. We might want to put in a page. And that's if you just want to send text information to your students. So they're clicking through your module and you want them just to read maybe some directions. Maybe you want them to read some text. That's what a page is for. Maybe there's just a picture or a graph or a chart you want to show them. Pages would be for that kind of thing, just informational purposes. You might want to add files, a Word doc, a PowerPoint, a Google Doc of some type. You can do that here. You might want to add a YouTube video, and I'm sure you will along the way. And then also we're going to talk about assignments and discussion boards and multiple other things along the way. So let's just start off with pages. Anytime you want to add something to a module, go to that gray bar for that specific module. So I'm going to go to module 1, and I'm going to go to this little plus. So this is how I add things to a module. I can go up to the drop-down menu by add, and these are the different kinds of things I can add. So I'm going to start with a page. Now, if I've already built the page, I can simply select the page. I'm going to pretend that I haven't created the page yet. So I can build the page from this menu right now. So I'm going to go to new page. I'm going to give it a name. We'll call this module 1, page 1. Once I do that, I click add item. And notice it brings it up under the module. If I click on it, if I click on the link, right now it's just a blank page. But once I click on that link, I can click on edit up in the top right. And I'll get that same page creation screen we saw a minute ago when we were working on the home page. So let's just put in some text here to begin with. Struggling with the typing here. Anything you want to put on this page, you can. You can put pictures in simply by clicking the embed image. You can put in links. You actually can also embed video. And we'll do some of that maybe here in a minute. That's all I'm going to put on there for right now. I'm going to go to save and publish once I do that. So again, pages are for informational purposes. You've got text, picture, chart, something like that you want your students to see. The easiest way to do that is through a page. Now I'm going to go back to module 1. I'm going to go back to this plus. I'm going to go to the drop-down menu again. This time, let's say I want to put in a file. So maybe I have a Word document or a PowerPoint or an Excel sheet, some kind of file I want my students to be able to access. So I drop down to File. Any file that's in your Canvas course is going to be listed. So again, I would recommend that you upload those files first before you do that and put them into folders so that it's easy to, it keeps your main file folder more organized. But notice these are broken down by folder in my Canvas course. So I've got a folder called A+ Documents. All those files are in there. I've got another folder, AP Exam Review Materials, with a subfolder, AP Exam Review Part 1. Those are in there. Same here. So I'm going to pick one of those now, one that I've already uploaded. Let's just say I want to go with this program schools list. This is a PDF file. Click Add Item. We'll see what it looks like in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and go back up to module 1 and click on that plus. I'm going to stay with files, but this time I'm going to do a new file. So this is one that I have not uploaded yet to Canvas. I go down to choose file. I'm just going to pick a random file here from my computer. I'll pick AP Physics 1 Pacing Guide. Click open. And then finally add item. So now if I click out for a second and just click on the module and click on the first page, this is what it's basically what it's going to look like to students. So they'll read what's on the first page, they'll progress to next, and they'll be able to see the file. The file should open up within Canvas like you can see here. It also should give them the option to download the file if they want to download it to their computer. So that's the file that was already in my Canvas course. If I click next, this is the file that I uploaded from my local computer. This was the pacing guide. But again, they can view it within the browser. They can download it simply by clicking on that link. All right, I'm going to go back to modules now. And this time I'm again going to go to the plus on module 1. This one is not as intuitive. Let's say that there's a YouTube video that we want to have set up as essentially a module page. The easiest way to do that is just go to external URL. So this would work for a YouTube video. It would work for any kind of web page that you want your students to navigate to. So I'm going to go to external URL. I'm going to navigate over to YouTube real quick. And I'm going to go to the A+ College Ready Science webpage. And I'll pick up this video with Danny with a hamburger on his head. And we'll use that one. So we're going to hit Control-C, and we're simply going to copy that link. We copy the YouTube link from the top of the YouTube video page. And then we're simply going to paste that into the URL box. And we'll give this page a name. We'll call this sample embedded video. You can have it load up in a new tab. But what I'm trying to do with the courses that I'm building is keep the participants in Canvas so they don't have to go to different places. So I wouldn't recommend the load in new tab. I would recommend you leave that box unchecked.
Hey, Matt,
click add item.
Matt, is there a benefit to hitting indent at all? Or what does that do for every time you've added a new one? There's been the option to indent.
Yes.
Give me a minute, Danny, and I'll come back to that. That's something that I'll get to here in just 1 second. It's on my to-do list.
Hey, Matt,
Yeah,
is it better to just link the videos or embed the videos?
I would embed the videos, and that way they don't have to go anywhere. I mean, it's all, they click next and they're on the video. So I'm in the Canvas course right now. I'm on the page before the YouTube video. When I click next, this takes me to the YouTube page, and notice it pulls it up right in Canvas. And all I have to do to watch this video is hit play. And it will play it within Canvas. Now, I will tell you, there are situations, sometimes if something's going on with Canvas, where this YouTube screen will just look blank. And if you click on it, nothing happens. If you run into that issue, all the students need to do to play the video is click up here on the title, and it will open it up. I don't know why it does that sometimes. Here it's working perfectly, but every now and then these controls, like the play button, just don't show up. If that happens, just click on the name of the video, and it will open it up in a new tab. But as I said before, I think the best thing you can do is keep them in Canvas. And your folks that aren't all that tech savvy, That way they only have to be in one place, and you're going to avoid confusion if you keep them in that one place. All right, any questions on that so far? And we'll get to the indent thing here in just a minute. All right, so let's see what else I have to add there. So we got videos. So let's talk about setting up assignments for a minute. So an assignment is going to be anything that you want them actually to physically turn in to you. So we're going to go to plus. We're going to go again, this time to assignment. You can build assignments beforehand like we did with pages, or you can just build them from within your module. If I already had a pre-made assignment, I could simply click on it. But I'm going to do a new assignment. So I'm going to click new. I'm going to give it a name. Like so, and click add item. And notice when I do, right now it's blank. But if I click on it, this is going to bring me to the assignment tool. And I'm going to go to edit. So let's just, I'm going to leave it as titled as assignment 1. Here I have to put some directions. I'm going to put maybe, please respond to the following questions. So whatever questions you want them to answer, you also could copy and paste anything you want into this window. So if there was like a free response question you wanted your participants to read and then respond to, a checkpoint question, maybe just something to read and respond to, you could put any of that in the box, followed by your questions. The important part of this we want to look at are the settings. So for right now, you can set points. I don't think we're going to do that with any of the courses probably. More than likely what's going to happen is your CD is probably going to tell you to set this as just a complete or incomplete assignment. So you do that under display grade as. Not percentage, not points. You just want to do complete, incomplete. If we scroll on down just a bit, submission type. So this is how they're going to turn in their work. They could do something online. They could turn it in on paper in class. That's not going to be an option this year. Or they could use an external tool. I think pretty much your option is always going to be online. For this course, choose online. And when you do, you're going to get some options. These are all different ways students can turn in things to you online. They could do a text entry. Simply, they're going to get a box where they copy and paste their answer in or type their answer in. They could submit a website URL to you. So maybe they want to give you access to a Google Doc. They could go to share in their Google Doc, get a link, and they could paste the link using this website URL option. They could do a media recording. And I'll show you this option in a minute as a student, that they can record their voice, or they can record video and show you all of that from here. And then finally, probably the most common one is going to be file uploads. So they can upload essentially any kind of file they have on their computer, whether it's Word, PDF, Google Doc, video, audio, pretty much any kind of file type is uploadable. There are ways to set up group assignments. We're going to talk about group assignments here in just a second. You also can require students to peer review the work of another person. You can check that box, and you can manually do that, or you can have the computer to automatically assign a peer or a couple peers for them to look over their work. Let's do the automatic, and you can tell it how many people you want them to peer review. And the computer will send them an email, and it'll also put a notification on the assignment tab telling them that they're supposed to review so-and-so's work, and it will give them a link. And they simply click on that link. It'll show them the work, and then they comment on it. Notice here you have to set a date for when you want that to happen, when you want the peer reviews to be assigned, and that date has to be after the due date. So I'm going to set that to tomorrow for right now. While we're setting, we can set a date and a time, or you can just set the date. If you just set the date, it's going to automatically set the time to 11:59 p.m. So the very end of the day. I'm just going to let it go there for right now. Also, you can make this anonymous so they don't see each other's names. They'll just get the comments. That's probably the best way to do the peer reviews, is just to keep it anonymous. All right, and then finally down here under assign, you set your due date. I'm going to set the due date to today. And I'm going to manually set it at 11 p.m. You also can set available from. So you're probably going to have some students sometimes who just don't finish things on time. So you're going to set a due date for tonight at 8 o'clock, or tonight at 11 o'clock. Realizing that somebody's probably not going to get it turned in by tonight at 11 o'clock. So you're going to keep this assignment available to students from today. And probably you're going to keep it available until the end of the course. Let's just say the course was going to end on the 12th. So when they turn it in, the grade book is going to note to me that it was turned in late, but they can still turn it in. If I don't keep it available, they won't be able to turn anything in if they're late. So it's pretty important to check that. One other thing that I want to show you, and this is if you're using groups, you can assign things to different groups at different times. Right now I'm assigning it to everyone. But if I go down here and click add, maybe I only wanted to make this assignment to a specific group, or even to a specific person. If I had groups set up, which I'll show you how to do in a second, I could just assign it to that group, or I could just assign it to a particular person. Click on the name and set the due date. So this could be a completely different due date. I'll set this one due on Sunday, and I'll make it available from today until the 12th. So they're going to get the same assignment, but it's going to be due at completely different times. All right, once you set that up, save and publish. And again, I'll show you what it looks like from the student view here in just a second. Questions on the assignment settings?
Yeah, Matt, when you said that they couldn't move to module 2 until they finish module 1, is it when they turn things in, or like when we mark them as complete?
It's when they've clicked through the whole module.
Okay.
So they don't necessarily have to have submitted all the assignments. Other questions on the assignments? All right, I mentioned groups a second ago. There's a couple of different ways you might want to deal with groups, and the group terminology is actually a little confusing because it can mean several different things in Canvas. First of all, let's say we just have groups of people we want to work together on certain assignments. To set up those groups, you go to People. And you go over here to Group Set, plus Group Set. All right, and I'm going to make these be my day 1 groups. All right, now there's several ways you can do this. You could allow people to sign up for groups. I can't think of a good situation where that's probably ever the option that you want to choose. So I wouldn't recommend you choosing that box. I would recommend you go down to the bottom, the group structure box down here, and you can do one of two things. If you choose this first option, split students into blank groups, the computer is going to automatically divide your students up into however many groups you tell it to. So if I set it to 2 groups, it's going to divide. If there's 30 people in the class, it's going to put 15 in one group and 15 in the other. You got a few options here under that. What I'm going to do in most cases, though, is not that. In most cases, I think I'm going to manually create the groups, and I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. So you hit save. And right now, I'm under day 1 groups. So I'm going to go to plus group under day 1 groups. And I'm going to name this one group 1. And then here, over here on the left under unassigned students, these would be all the students in your course. Well, I only have a couple of people in my course right now, but if I want to put them in day 1 groups, group 1, all I do is click plus. And actually, before I do that, let me set up another group as well. So I'm going to go back to plus group. Here's going to be group 2. And group 3. All right, so now if I'm ready to assign people to groups, I just click on this plus beside their name and tell the computer which group to put them in. And as you put them in groups, they disappear from this list. And that's it as far as grouping them. Now, let me go back to an assignment. So let's go back to the module. So I'm going back to modules. And I'm going to set up a new assignment. So I'm going to go to plus assignment. I'm going to go new assignment. I'll call this one group assignment. Click add item. Click on the name of the assignment, group assignment, and edit. Put in some directions. And again, if there's some kind of document you want to attach or give them access to, you could do that here. So I'm going to say, so directions document, I'm going to highlight that term. And now I'm going to go here to files. And let's pretend that one of these documents were the directions for that assignment. Just click it, and now it's linked, and they'll be able to access the directions for the assignment. More importantly, I want to set this up underneath here as a group assignment. So not going to assign points, still assignments group, display grade as complete or incomplete. Submission type, we're going to do it online. And I'm going to give them a text entry or a file uploads option, either way. And you can pick which ones of these you want them to be able to do. I'm going to set this up as a group assignment. And then you might have several, you might have like a day 1 set of groups, and you might have a different day 2 set of groups and a different day 3 set of groups and so on. You tell the computer here which set of groups you want to use. So I want to use the day 1 groupings. I'm going to assign this to all the groups, to everyone. Again, I'm going to set the due date. I'm going to set it to tomorrow. And I'm going to make it available from today all the way through the end of the course, which we're going to say is the 12th. And hit save and publish. So while we're talking about groups, I'm going to go back to people for a second. And I'm going to go into that day one groups tab. And I'm going to go into group one. Actually, I'm going to need to do this in student view. So I'll come back to this in student view so you can see what the students see in a minute. I think that'll be more useful for you to see it in student view. So I'll come back to that in a second. Questions about setting up the groups, first of all.
I have a question, Matt.
Yeah.
How soon will we know the students that are going to be in that group? Like, how will we be able to set these groups up the week before? Will it be the day of? At what point will we have access to that information?
I would, don't quote me on this, but I would assume as soon as registrations are final, you ought to be able to get that information. So you'll have some time in advance to be able to do
Matt,
it.
I think I might can answer this.
Yeah.
We are going to close registration 2 weeks prior to the training opening date. So you will have a list of those registrants. There will be a late ticket for those who need to register late. So the final closing date will be the Friday prior to training beginning. But you should have, within the first 2 weeks or 2 weeks prior to the training date, you should have access to the majority of the participants who are in that course.
Terry,
Thank
another
you
question.
very much.
Are the developers of the course adding students to the Canvas courses? Are the CDs doing that? How are the students actually going to get added to the Canvas course?
I am not 100% sure about that. I think we are going to, I don't think the developers, I don't think the facilitators will have to add.
Okay.
We're going to have it taken care of.
So all you'll have to do, if that's the case, is just go to people and groups, and you'll just pick people from the pre-populated list. You won't have to add anybody to the course. All right, so next thing on my list here, and actually I'm going to jump around a bit. I want to talk about something called collaborations for a second. Notice there's a tool over here on the left for collaborations. You're going to see this again in the student view when we're looking at groups in a minute. But under collaborations, I'm going to go over here to plus collaborations. When I do that, I'll see all, under people, I'll see all the students in my course listed. Or I can go to groups, and I can see the groups that I've created. What a collaboration is going to do is it's going to create some type of Google document, whether it's an actual word processing document, Google Slides, or Sheets. And notice I have the option to choose which one of those I want up here at the top: document, spreadsheet, presentation. I'm going to just keep it on a doc. I'm going to give this a name. So I'm going to call this Group 1, Day 1 Collaboration. And then I'm going to choose who I want to be able to access this document. So this is going to create a Google Doc from scratch. Whoever I pick in this list, and I'm just going to go to the list and I'm going to say I want this to be a Group 2 Google Doc. Once I do that and hit submit, when students go to collaborations, they're only going to see the collaborations that they've been added to. So the only people that should be able to see Group 1, Day 1 collaboration are people that are in Group 1 on Day 1. You can see it as the instructor. But when they click on that, it's going to authorize for a second, then it's going to open up the Google Doc. Anybody in that group can collaboratively work on this Google document at the same time. So it's a way to allow them to answer a question or build something collaboratively without you having to share a Google Doc or send the Google Doc to one member of the class and ask them to share it to everybody else. This does that automatically. once you group them and you choose them to be part of the collaboration, they all automatically have access to the document. The way I'm going to use this in my APSI course is on every day, we're either going to have a free response question or some type of lab scenario kind of thing that the participants are going to have to answer in groups of 2 or 3. So every day I'll have one of these set up, and they're going to use a Zoom breakout room, and they're going to use a collaboration document, and they're going to talk through and write their answers together at the same time.
Hey, Matt, quick question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, the only thing is you have to create the Google Docs, whatever, in here, in collaborations. You can't use one that you've already created, correct?
Right. Right. So what I'm doing is I'm actually pasting the questions into this document. So they'll have the question there. Everybody in the group will be able to see the question, and then they're going to answer it. So if I have 5 groups, I'm going to have to set that up 5 times. Is that the question you were
but Matt,
getting
you
to?
can set it up ahead of time.
Oh yeah. You don't have to do it the day of, for sure. You can do all this can be done in advance.
Are you asking Leanne how to link to an already created document?
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
If they created it already, like in their Google Drive, but it
Like an FRQ that you want to link to.
Right. So you could go into collaborations and you could do a doc. Well, no. If you want to do a pre-made Google Doc that you're going to use again for something else, this is not the way to do it. This is if you have a document you want them to answer, it's for that group and that group only. This is not something that you're going to pre-make and then share to multiple different groups at the same time. Won't work. So if you're doing this collaboration tool and you have 5 groups, you're going to have to go through the steps I just showed you for each of the 5 groups.
So like if you copy this course, like we have 2 sessions for like 2 different groups of folks for session 1, 2 different groups for session 2. So for each session that we have, this would have to be unique. So you would have to set up the course, and then if we copy the course, we still have to go back in and change this part of it.
Yes, your groups and your collaborations are going to have to be set up individually for each course. Most everything else, when you copy a course, will copy and you won't have to do anything to it. But your groups and your collaborations, you'll have to redo for each separate course. So that'll take a little work. It's pretty easy to do. Once you've done it a time or two, it's pretty fast. Someone had a question? Maybe not. All right, any questions here? This is a tool you need to play with. And what I would recommend you do is set up your course. Just put a couple of people in it and let them be your practice students, your guinea pigs, and just play around with it and see how it works. I really like the way this is set up, and I think it's going to help you avoid confusion of trying to send a Google Doc to one person in a group and asking them to share it to everybody else, or emailing everybody and sharing it one at a time. I think this will take some of the headache out of that, especially for your students who aren't very tech savvy. All they're going to have to do is go to collaborations, and when they do, they will see every document that they've been invited to, and they'll only see the ones that they've been invited to. So if you name everything clearly, like group 1, day 1 collaboration, I think that'll cut down on a lot of your confusion with your participants. All right, so chat. I don't want to spend too much time on the chat option. There is a built-in chat. Most of you guys are going to have a moderator and an instructor. The chat tools in Canvas are not the greatest ever. It's just a really basic chat room. Notice right up here at the top, new message alerts. and I have that checked on. What I thought when I first started playing with this is that whenever someone typed in a chat message, I would get an alert. That's true if you as the instructor have the chat option open. If on the other hand, I'm over in Pages and someone else sends me a chat message, I don't get any notification. And there's no way to set it to do that. So you're gonna have to go in every so often, the moderator or the instructor of the course, every few minutes, you're gonna need to go in and check chat. You're gonna have to manually go in and check it, because there is no way to set an alert unless you have it open on the screen. You could minimize it and you would still hear a little ding when a new chat message comes in. But if you navigate away from the chat tool, you get no notifications and there's no way to set one. So just realize that every so often, you may have to set yourself an alarm or something to go in and check the chat to see who's trying to ask you a chat question. But as far as what it'll do, essentially this is just a text-based chat tool. So you can go in and just type text messages. There's some emojis you can do. That's basically it. It's just a text-based chat tool. All right, so while we're here, let's talk a little bit about Zoom. This is not a Zoom training today, and I'm not an expert on Zoom, so I'm not the one to do the Zoom training probably. But I can show you the tool in Canvas that's going to make using Zoom a lot easier for you. So on the toolbar, there'll be a Zoom link. And when you click that, it's going to bring this tool up. This Zoom app inside Canvas is going to allow you to schedule your Zoom meetings. And when you schedule them, and let's just go ahead and schedule one, I'm going to go to schedule a new meeting. And I'll call this day 1, 8 a.m. webinar. Set the date and the time. So I'm going to set this for tomorrow at 8 a.m. Make sure it's on Central Time, and it will be, because that's all preset for you. And if I were you, I wouldn't mess with any of these other settings. And hit save. When you do, it's going to give you a link. If you want to copy that link, you can put that on a page in your module, and that's completely okay. You can send that out via an announcement. You can send it out via an email. But I'm going to tell you that's not necessarily necessary. If I go back to the Zoom link, notice that upcoming meetings, it's going to list for me date, time, and there's a link. All I need to do to go to that Zoom meeting is click on that link. Your students are going to see the same thing. All they'll need to do is go to Zoom, click right there on that link, and it will take them to the Zoom meeting. So there's not a lot of work that needs to be done. Also, any meetings that you record, both you and your students can go to cloud recording, and any meetings that you record will automatically show up here. And you as the instructor can choose to publish those and make them visible to your students. Or if you had a Zoom meeting with just one student, you would want to keep that private, you wouldn't want to publish it. But anything you check publish on, every student in your course will be able to see simply by going to Zoom and going to cloud recordings. And I think Tammy and Terry probably both want us to record most of those synchronous meetings, just in case you have a student who misses them. And they can always come in and just access the recording from here.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
This is Sue Culverth. Are we better off just having one 7:30 to 4 Zoom meeting or breaking it up into our 2 morning meetings and our 2 afternoon meetings?
It would work fine to set up a continuous meeting, but that's going to make recording difficult because you're going to have a lot of recorded dead space in there. So what I would recommend is you scheduling separate meetings for your different synchronous times. And that way, when you end it, your recording ends and you're good to go.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were,
Go ahead.
when you were setting that up, it said length of meeting and yours said 1 hour. If it went an hour and 15 minutes, is it going to cut it off if you set it for an hour?
It will not. It won't cut off until you end it. It will keep going. That's just for people to plan by. That's not like a cutoff for the meeting. But again, anything that you schedule here, so you might schedule an AM webinar, and let's see, the way I'm going to do mine for my APSI is I'm going to have like an AM webinar, and then I'm going to have a time during the day where I'm available for like office hours. And so I'm going to be available maybe like at maybe 11 or so during the day. And just anybody who needs to talk to me can pop in. So I'll schedule that one. Whoop, what did I not do there? That needs to be for tomorrow. All right, so I got a link for that one that I can share out. But again, I'm not going to share out these links. I'm just going to use the Zoom tool. And then I'm also going to set up one for the afternoon meeting. So this is going to be so I'm going to set that one at 3:30. And again, all your folks need to do to get to those is go to Zoom, and they'll see the exact same list you see here. All they need to do is click on the link to go there. You as the instructor, just click on Start to open up that meeting. Once you've recorded it and the recording's ready to go, come here and they'll be able to see every recording for the course. Does that make sense? Any questions on that?
Hey, Matt, correct.
Yeah.
Now, they're going to have to wait to set their Zoom meetings up until after we assign them an A+ Zoom account, right?
Yes. So your personal Zoom account, if you have one, will not work with this. It has to be an A+ Zoom account for it to work. So a week or so before the training, you will get access to an A+ Zoom account. And as soon as you get access to that, you can start scheduling your meetings. But this is something you don't want to try to do now because it won't work. It'll only work with an A+ account. Thanks for reminding everybody of that, Leanne.
Hey, Matt, one more question. So in my shell course, in trying to put a placeholder for the Zoom meetings, so first I didn't know about the whole setting it up in Zoom in Canvas.
Right.
I linked it to a URL. And so I just linked it to a general Zoom account.
Yep.
They'll just need to delete that out.
And then paste in that new link or take that out completely, whichever. I mean, if they want a link in there, that's fine. They'll just need to copy these links if they want to do that.
Okay, so what if I went ahead and put the Zoom on the navigations, and then I don't think I set up a course, but I think I opened it up there.
Mm-hmm.
What I did anyway, but is it going to be linked to me? If I went through that Zoom navigation to do it, or oh no, you know what? Because you could link it to to a URL, or if you go all the way down, there's another one that you can get to Zoom that way.
Right.
Either way, you're going to have to delete it out and go through them, right?
Yes. The instructor of the course is the one that needs to set up those meetings. If I was putting in a placeholder right now, Leanne, I think I just put in some text that said, put Zoom link here or something like that.
Too late. Already did it.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay. And that can just be deleted, and then they can replace it with these actual join URLs, or they can just say, go to the Zoom link and open up the Zoom meeting, whichever way works. All right, other questions before I hit the last couple of items on the instructor part of this? All right, so let's see. Let's talk about uploading multiple files at a time. So you've got files. All right, so I clicked on files. This is just like a file cabinet. Let's say that you've got a folder that has lots of subfolders in it, lots of files in it, and it's not one of those things you want to go through and upload one at a time. You want to take the whole folder and populate it into Canvas in 1 or 2 clicks. So the easiest way to do that is, let's say that this folder that I'm looking at right here, College First 2013, is a folder that I need in Canvas. And I just lost it. Where'd it go? Well, I don't see it anymore. I'll just use this one, the one that says UAH. This is a folder with, let's see what's in this folder first of all. So there's lots of stuff in this folder. I'm going to pick one that's smaller, that doesn't have as much stuff, because this can take a long time. So let me try to find a folder without very much in it. All right, we'll just, no, that's got a lot in it. I want to go with that one. Give me just a second, guys. All right, we'll just go with this one right here. This one that says Calhoun. So this is a folder with multiple subfolders, and I want to be able to upload it all to Canvas without uploading a file at a time. To do that, you first of all have to zip the folder. To zip it, click on the folder, and up at the top, choose zip. All right, it is now zipped. So then we go into Canvas. We go to upload. I was in Documents. And I want to scroll down and find the zipped version of that file. It'll have a little zipper on the icon. Click on it. Click Open. And you got 2 options here, upload it or expand it. If you choose upload it, it's just going to upload the zipped file. In most cases, that's not what you want to do. In most cases, you want to do expand it. And when you do that, sometimes it'll take a minute. Let's see how fast this one's going to work. All right, while this is going, there may be situations where you need to move around files or folders. Let's say that this fall conference files, I actually want this to be inside the A+ documents folder. So I want fall conference files to be a subfolder in A+ documents. I should be able to simply click and drag, like so. Now, Leanne had a problem yesterday with the clicking and the dragging aspect. So if for some reason clicking and dragging doesn't work, you can come over here to the far right in these 3 dots, click. Here you can delete a folder or file. You can also move. And you just tell it which folder or which directory you want to move it in. So that's easy enough. So I prefer drag and drop, but if for some reason that isn't working, click, hit move, tell it where you want it to go. Here's the Calhoun folder that I just uploaded. And notice that all the files and all the subfolders are present within there. So zip a folder, go to upload, make sure you choose the zipped version of the folder and tell it to expand it instead of just upload it. And that will take all your subfolders and all your files and organize them exactly the way on Canvas that they are on your computer. All right, let's see. The only other thing I have on my list for instructors is Canvas Commons. So let's say that you're building multiple courses, but there are pieces of those courses that are going to be the same. For example, maybe there's a module that you're going to have in every math course.
That too, or maybe a quiz that you're going to use each day, or an exit ticket for each day.
Yeah, it could be this could be a whole module. This could be a one assignment. Any item in Canvas, this will work for. So this is any item that's going to be used in multiple courses. So I'm just going to do module 1. If I go over to the 3 dots on the far right of module 1 and choose share to Commons. All right, you really don't need to mess with many of these options. I would say all of A+ College Ready. And actually, you guys might want to check public because some of you are probably using non-A+ accounts. So I would probably go ahead and check all of A+ College Ready and public. And I'm going to say module 1 test course. I'm going to copy that name because I'm going to need to search for this in a minute. And then click share. And what this is going to do, I guess I have to give it a description. And for some reason, it wants an image. Any kind of image works. You can upload an image. I don't really care what kind of image I'm using today for this, so I'm just going to choose that. And then click share. And this uploads that module to the cloud. So now I'm going to go to a different course. I'm going to go to a course that I'm not using right now. I'll go down to the Saturday Sessions course. And I'm going to go import from Commons over here on the far right. And I'm just going to put in the name of that I just copied. And I should be able to find it here pretty quickly. Sometimes it takes things like that a minute to upload. Probably should have given it a more sophisticated name. Let's try that again. So there it is. It should be in, if you're in an A+ course, your A+ document should be listed up here up front. So there it is, module 1 test course. And all I have to do is click on it. And then click import or download. And tell it which Canvas course that I want to put it into, Saturday study sessions, and import into course. Now, if I navigate back to courses and go to that Saturday study sessions course and go to modules, there's that module that I just imported from Commons. And it was blank, there wasn't anything in it. So all we're gonna see is the module 1 holder. But any item that you're gonna use in multiple courses, the easiest way to copy it over is to export to Commons and then import from Commons. And it takes all of about 20 or 30 seconds to do that. All right, questions? All right, I'm going to switch screens then, and I'm going to go to a student view of things for a second.
Hey, Matt, are you going to talk about using the discussion feature?
Yes, and actually I skipped that. Let me do that while I'm here. That was on my list and I just skipped it. So let me go back into that test course that I was just in. And let's go back to module 1. So let's say that we've had them go through the whole module, and at the end we want them to react to what they learned. The easiest way to do that is with a discussion board. So we're going to go to plus for module 1. We're going to drop down and do a discussion. All right, we pick the topic. So we didn't have any to choose from. So we'll call this day 1 summary discussion. Add item. Once we get back to the module list, we're going to click on that day 1 summary discussion, and we're going to edit. So in this box, we will put the questions that we want them to react to, or the directions for the discussion board. But I might say something like, obviously you would want more clear directions than that, but again, in this box, you can type out the information, or you could link a document with the directions. Either one works. If we scroll down though, these are the directions for the setup for the discussion board. So you do need to check graded. If this is something you want to make sure their participants do, make sure you check graded. Most of these others probably aren't going to apply. You could allow threaded replies. That's up to you. That's going to make the replies look a lot like a Gmail kind of threaded reply list. You could set this discussion board up for just a single group or for the whole class. I'm going to set mine up as a whole class kind of discussion board for right now. Display grade as, you need to make sure you set it up as just complete or incomplete, not points. This is a place on a discussion board where you might use this peer review option. So you could click check peer reviews. You could manually assign peer reviews, or you could automatically assign peer reviews. Let's say we assigned 2 per person. Remember, the due date for those assignments has to be after the due date for the discussion board post. So we'll set that for tomorrow. And we'll say that the actual post has to be done by tonight. And again, we're going to leave it available from the beginning of the course until the course is over. All right, make sure once you've chosen all those options, save and publish. And we'll look at what this looks like as a student version here when we switch over to the next computer. But essentially, they will type in their answer to the questions you've entered. Everyone in the course will be able to see it. And the computer is going to choose 2 of their classmates and assign them to peer review to react to what that person initially posted. All right, questions there? All right, here's a list of things I want to look at for students, and this will just take a minute. So authorizing the Google account, which is going to work the same way that we started earlier today. We'll look at how assignments get submitted. And we'll look a little bit at the group work and the collaborations and the Zoom stuff, but that won't be much different than we already talked about. So I'm going to quit sharing my screen here for just a minute. And I'm going to move over to the other computer. All right, so this screen is logged into the same course, but I'm logged in as a student on this account. So I'm going to go to the first module. So this is what it would look like from a student point of view. So there's that first page. Here's the document that we linked in. Here's the second document that we linked in. The YouTube video. And then here's the first assignment. So your student is going to see the due date and when it's available and all that kind of stuff. They go up to submit assignment. And notice they've got options here. These are the options that I chose. They could do a text entry if they want to do that. And they'll just enter their answer into this box. They could paste a website URL. So maybe they're going to paste a Google Doc or something like that, a Google Doc link. Or if they've authorized their Google account, they can go to Google Doc or Google Drive and essentially pick the document that they want to turn in. So let's say the document that I want to turn in is let's just go with this one right here. And I could submit assignment. Now what that does when you do it as a Google Doc, it's going to take the Google Doc, it downloads the Google Doc and converts it to the Microsoft equivalent. And essentially it uploads it as not a live document anymore, so that it can't be changed after it's turned in. So they couldn't submit a blank Google Doc and then hours later go in and actually finish it before you graded it. So it downloads the document as a still dead file essentially, so that they can't manipulate it after they've turned it in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go to resubmit assignment because I want you to see some other things they can do. So they could go in and go to media. And notice that I've got record, upload, media. So they could upload a video file or something like that, or they can hit start recording. And they'll get a little countdown, and they can say, this is my assignment. This would work really well for like a foreign language teacher or something like that. Once they're finished talking, they just hit finish. They can preview their video. And I'm on mute on that computer, so you're not gonna be able to hear it. But once they've checked it, they make sure it's right, they hit save. and that gets sent out to the instructor. For right now, though, I'm going to resubmit one more time. Let me hit submit there first. And this time I'm just going to upload a document. I think that's probably going to be the most common way your students turn in things, or either upload documents or do the Google Doc option. I'm going to choose a file. I'm going to click on the file I want to turn in. I'm going to do this webinar schedule as my turn-in document. Open, submit assignment. And that's going to upload the file. Now give me just a second here. So again, as far as submitting assignments go, they can upload a file, they can turn in text, they can turn in something from their Google Drive or Google Docs, or they can do a video or audio recording. All of those are pretty easy to do. While we're here from the student point of view, let's go back, let's click back through our module now. So this was the assignment page in the module. If I hit next, remember we had a group assignment as well. I'm not going to deal with that one for right now. I'm going to click next. So this was the discussion board. Discussion board, this is about as fancy as it's going to look. It's going to have the questions, maybe some information for them to read, and they just click here, they type their reply. Once they do that, they hit post reply. And that's it. And once the due date for the discussion board is over, since we set the peer reviews, the computer will automatically assign them a couple of people's discussion posts to read and respond. So hopefully that will intentionally encourage discussion. It will require discussion along the way. All right, also I'll pull up collaborations while I'm here. So remember, as a student, the only things I should be able to see under collaborations are collaborative documents that I've been invited to. So right now, this student has only been invited to one, this one called test. And if the student clicks on that link, test, it will open up the Google Doc, and they'll see any text that I, as the instructor, have put in there, and they can type away as far as answering their question. And they can work with another person to do that. As far as the student use of
Matt,
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go
on
ahead.
that collaboration tool, so that's going to create a document on whose drive?
That will be on the instructor's drive.
On the instructor's drive. So if that would be, so if somebody wanted to go in and enter the questions, they'd have to enter them in that way. Would they see them then? If they have like certain questions?
Yeah, so let me do that real quick from my side. You're not going to see what I'm doing right now, but I'm on the teacher version right now. So I switched over to the next computer. I hit plus collaboration, and I'm going to share it with the student whose screen you're looking at right now. Give me just a second here.
Matt, while you're typing that, if you share that with multiple people, they all see that same document?
They will all see the same document, yes.
But then I just see the one document where everyone had, I just see that single document everyone has.
Yeah, you're gonna see everything here in just a second once I get it in there. All right, so I set up a new collaboration. And let me refresh my student screen here. So notice this one's FRQ1. It's shared with a student. So let's just pretend this was an FRQ prompt. Every student in the group would see that as soon as they first access that question. This could be text. It could be a copy and pasted image. So you would need to do that part up front as the instructor. Put your prompt in that Google Doc, and that will go out to everybody in the group. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question, Deatra? All right, I want to quickly show you guys how to do the how to use the Canvas Speedgrader. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get back into the Canvas course. So I'm going to go to assignments. I'm going to go down to assignment 2 because I know I've submitted an assignment there as a student. And I'm going to click over here on the right on Speedgrader. Now what Speedgrader should show me as soon as it pulls up is it should show me the assignment for the first student. So let's pretend this set of URLs and webinar schedule is an assignment that a student submitted. I can use the arrow over on the far right to click to my other students. Notice that this student hasn't turned in anything. This particular course only has 2 students, but if I wanted to see all the students, I could click on the drop down here where my cursor's at, and I could see the whole list of students. If they've submitted an assignment, they're going to have a circle beside their name. If they haven't, they're not going to have anything indicated. So only one of the 2 has submitted an assignment. So what the Speedgrader allows me to do is to, number 1, grade the assignment. I can give it points if it's set to points, or I can choose just to grade it. Now this one's set to points. So let's go in and let's edit that real quick. Let me show you how to do something on that. So let's edit that assignment. In our E3 courses, we don't want points. We want to display the grade as either complete or incomplete. So just change that option. Make sure you hit save. Now let's go back to Speedgrader. So I can mark it, I can look at it, I can mark it as complete, incomplete, or excused. I'm going to mark it as complete. In assignment comments, I can type a comment about the assignment. I can also go up here to the top, and I have a lot of annotation tools. So if I click on this free draw annotation, I can go in and I can mark. If this was a math thing, I could do some work. I could show some work here. I also can go in and insert comments. I can go in and highlight things. You know, there's all kinds of things I can do. I could highlight a whole area and then make a comment about that area. I could go in and highlight a topic. And actually, before I do a highlight, I can put in a comment. This is just a comment box that I just put in. I could go in and highlight that if I needed to do that. Well, that didn't work. I can also go in and put in a point and leave a comment at that point. So annotation tools are pretty powerful. Whether you want to just put in an assignment comment, a grade, you can use the annotation tools annotation tools rather, to mark things up. You can strike out certain things if you would like. Zoom in, zoom out. Powerful tools. I will tell you that one thing that you need to be careful of. If you want to be able to use this annotation toolbar, it will only work if the anonymous peer grading option is not chosen on the assignment setup menu. So let me go back to the assignment setup menu for this particular assignment. So let's go to assignment 2 and let's edit. So notice one of the options down here is to peer grade. So I'm requiring peer reviews, manually assigning peer reviews. If you check this box right here under anonymity, peer reviews appear anonymously, that will disable the annotation tools in the Speedgrader. That's a bug in Canvas they're working to find a fix, but if you want to use those annotation tools, do not check this anonymous peer review option. All right, that's it for the Speedgrader. Hope that helps. All right, the last thing that I'll share with you then, Canvas has lots of really good tutorials. And you can see on my screen here, they have video guides that do a really good job of walking you step by step through things. I personally would prefer myself a text-based tutorial. So these text-based guides are text with screenshots. Pretty much anything you want to know how to do in Canvas, you can find in either of these two places, either the video guide or the text and screenshot-based guides. And again, they do a really good job of walking you through things. Our webinar today is being recorded, and I'll edit that up into little snippets, and I'll send that out to you guys too so that you can access it. Any other questions? All right, well, if you run into questions, feel free to email me. It's matt@aplusala.org. I'm the Canvas administrator. Most things in Canvas, I can, if I don't know how to do it, I can figure it out pretty quickly. So just shoot me an email and I'll be glad to help. Thank you guys for being here today. If no
Thanks,
one else has any
everyone.
questions, go ahead, Terry.
I was just going to say thank you, everyone, for taking the time this afternoon. We appreciate it.
Hey, for the math folks, I added notes in to our math virtual planning document. I highlighted it in pink where I added those notes, because, you know, me, I don't ever remember. So what I learned. So if you want to add to that so that we have record of that, or in case you want to go back and refer to it, just thought I'd tell you thanks. Not in pink, in blue, sorry.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, thank y'all for being here. And I'll send out the PowerPoint so you can get these links to the tutorials. And once I get the video edited down, I'll send that out as well.
Thank you.
Yep, take care.